So I feel like the preseason is the one time where ties should be okay. Like, we don't always have to have a winner in the preseason, let's be real. But nah, I guess it still made for a fun, exciting closing game out to the preseason in overtime, getting a win over the Cavs. The crowd was into it, the guys were into it with their energy on the court. Hell, I was into it like it was a regular season game, because you know why? This team is actually fun to watch. I don't know how good they're going to be overall, mainly because their defense is just so atrocious, but they are a fun and exciting team to watch on offense. Like, it's crazy to say this, but this has been the most fun watching this team, for me anyway, since the beginning of that 2021 season before Lonzo got injured. They move the ball well, they play fast, they play with energy, and above all, they play for each other. Now, we'll see if that changes things once we get to the regular season. Vibes can change quickly depending on how the team starts performing and frustration and resentment builds, but as of right now, you can tell these guys enjoy playing together. A stark contrast from last season, where it was so clear, especially at the beginning of the year, where these guys just looked like they did not enjoy playing together, and half the team was already checked out. So yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know what to expect going into this season, but with Vegas having the Bulls at 25.5 wins, I probably would take the over on that. Something just tells me this team is going to win more games than people expect. Now, some things I like seeing in this game. First and foremost, Lonzo Ball still looks great. In fact, you could argue he looked even better than the last game. And the reason I say that's a big deal is because he's responding well after playing the most competitive basketball he's played in 2.5 years, and was able to bounce back without any pain and play just as well, if not better, 2 days later. After the game, Lonzo said to the media that he was still pain-free and didn't think about his knee while playing. Tonight, he played another 16 minutes, had 11 points, was still hitting those deep threes, 3 for 7 from deep, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And for me, it was more just Lonzo's presence when he's on the court. It's like the guys feel more comfortable when he's out there running the offense, knowing that he's going to make the right play and find easy buckets for them. Some of those quick bounce passes on a backdoor cut from Lavine were a thing of beauty, and I miss seeing those from a couple years back. The other thing I like seeing in this game is that the Bulls continue with their heavy volume three-point shooting. Like, I wasn't sure if their high three-point shooting volume was going to be sustainable. We'll see if it does going into the regular season, but putting up 56 threes, I don't think they took that many threes at any point last season. Now, they didn't shoot it that well, going 19 for 56, but as I said so many times last year, it is so hard to win basketball games consistently when you're getting fewer possessions than your opponent and generating less shots than your opponent. The Bulls got up 115 shot attempts in this game compared to the Cavs' 106. Preseason, I know defenses aren't going to be the same, but it's an encouraging sign nonetheless from what we have been seeing from this Bulls team in the past. Also, 139 points on 34 assists. Again, ball movement, team basketball, that gets you wins. All the starters were great tonight. I really like what we saw from P. Will and how aggressive he was being. Unfortunately, he did roll his ankle and the Bulls ruled him out for the rest of the game. He did say post-game that if it was a regular season game, he would have kept playing. Still a little concerning though, just knowing Pat's health history, and you obviously want to see him 100% going into the season. But when he threw down that dunk at the beginning of the game with that quick dribble drive to the hoop, that got me super excited. We don't often see that kind of Pat, and we need to see that consistently being done throughout this year. It was also another game where Pat was active on the boards. 10 points, 6 rebounds for him in 20 minutes of play. How about Ayo? Missed the last couple of games, comes back tonight in the starting lineup with Josh Giddey being out. Puts up 19 points on 7 for 11 shooting, 5 for 7 from 3. I mean, and I'm going to need to make a video on this at some point. I know Giddey is going to start for political reasons because they just traded Caruso for him, but with the way Lonzo and Ayo have been playing and the level of impact they have on the defensive end, does it really make sense to start Giddey, especially with how the Bulls look tonight? We need a larger sample size, of course, to see how the Bulls perform overall with Giddey and his on versus off court numbers compared to Ayo and Lonzo. But I just feel like it's not as clear-cut as some people are making it out to be that Josh Giddey should be the starter and that it's a foregone conclusion. Zach had a great game, and he really did thrive more when Lonzo was on the court with his playmaking and transition. He finished the game with 18 points, 7 for 14 from the floor, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Vucevic had a solid game, 18 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal and a block, 8 for 16 from the floor. Got owned a couple times, getting rejected by Mobley, but hey, Vooch has never really been known as one to just throw it down in someone's face. Jalen Smith looks solid coming off the bench. 14 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 5 for 9. Mata, 7 points, 3 for 4. He was active and aggressive as usual. I would have liked to see Julian Phillips get some more minutes in his last preseason game just because it's going to be hard for him to see the floor in the rotation when the season comes around. But I also know that he's coming off a bit of a minor injury. And then, man, THT. Dude loves to put up shots, and he had some nice plays in closing out the game, giving the Bulls that game-tying shot with a few seconds left to send it into overtime. He's going to get that final roster spot. I mean, that much is clear at this point. And actually, for those that don't know or haven't seen the news yet, the Bulls did in fact waive Batum and Kenny Lofton Jr., and then they subsequently signed EJ Liddell to the final two-way deal, which means the Bulls have one open roster spot for a guaranteed contract and only one guy left that they signed to a training camp deal, being Talen Horton-Tucker. It's going to be him. It's more of a formality at this point, and I'm sure we'll get that confirmation at some point over the weekend. I don't think he's going to get that much playing time, but if the Bulls have any kind of injuries, they'll be able to rely on him for his scoring coming off the bench, that's for sure. So anyway, preseason is done. We are now set for the regular season with the Bulls playing their first game on Wednesday in New Orleans. I cannot wait, and I can't wait for you guys to be on the journey with me going into this season. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.